Hi guys, Olive here today to do a little bit more of a casual video where I would like to look back on all the goals that I set myself for 2017 and see how I did on those, how many of them I accomplished. In 2017, I set my Goodreads goal for 85 books. I knew that this was probably going to be infinitely achievable considering how much I was reading at the time. I did have the idea in my head I would like to get to 100 books, but I wasn't going to hold myself to that. And it ended up being that I read 98 books during the year. That was 27% more books than I read in 2016 when I read 77 for the year. The average length of book that I read in 2017 was 349 pages, which I found really fitting because that is the ideal length of book for me. Of the 98 books that I read, 16 were 5-star books, 42 were 4-star books, 25 were 3-star books, 12 were 2-star books, and 3 were 1-star books. Overall, I had an average rating of 3.6 stars on Goodreads, which is lower than last year's average of 3.8. 57 of the 98 books that I read in 2017 were fiction, and 41 of the 98 were nonfiction. It was a goal of mine to have a 70% to 30% split between fiction and nonfiction, respectively. Obviously, you can see I surpassed this goal, and I am inching closer and closer to a 50-50 split. This year it was about a 58% fiction to 42% nonfiction split. For my 2018 reading goals, I decided not to include a goal for the split between fiction and nonfiction. If I had, it would have been to achieve a 50-50 split between fiction and nonfiction. But as you can see, I am very close to reading that already. That is what I did throughout the course of 2017. So I didn't really feel that I needed to make a goal for that if that's the way my reading is headed naturally. I also had a goal for 2017 that I wanted to read more off of my e-reader. I don't tend to read a lot of books on there, but I do have a lot of books on it already that I need to read. I pretty much failed entirely at this goal. I participated in the Read Your E-Reader readathon, which I believe took place in July. And then after that, I read basically nothing on my e-reader. This is something I want to address in 2018, but I'm not going to make it the same goal as it was in 2017 because obviously something about that was not working for me. So instead, if you've seen my 2018 goals video, I want to be reading more on my phone. I'm able to read those same books that are on my e-reader, but on my phone instead, which is pretty much always on me. So I think it'll be more achievable this year. And then in 2017, I was also working on a few projects. The first one being one that I introduced in 2017, which was the random pick off of my TBR for the month. I thought of this project when I was looking at my Goodreads to-read shelf, and so many of the books on there I forgot existed. I have a very good memory, but not good enough to memorize the names of 1,000 titles on my to-read shelf on Goodreads. And most, if not all of those books, I am still interested in reading. I regularly go through that shelf and remove things that I'm no longer interested in. There are just so many books that I am interested in reading that some of them get forgotten or buried under the other books on that list. So I decided that every month I would choose 3 books randomly on that list using a random number generator, and then choose one of those 3 options to read during the course of the month. As you've probably heard me say many times before, I absolutely loved this project. I was really good about keeping to the books that I chose for myself. I got really excited about it every single month. It seriously felt like Christmas every time I went to go do it. This project encouraged me to pick up books that I would have never thought to put on my TBR otherwise, and 3 of the books that I picked out of the 15 total that I chose for myself over the course of the year ended up on my top books of the year list. So it's pretty impressive. So this is definitely something that I'm continuing into 2018, and I'm still really excited about it, but I thought I would talk a little bit about the numbers associated with the project for 2017. As I said a moment ago, I did end up picking 15 books using this method. Of those 15, I ended up reading 12 of them. Of the 3 that I did not read, 2 of them were DNFs, and 1 of them was December's pick that I didn't end up getting to in December that I am currently reading this month. In 2017, I was also working on an additional project. I had given myself a list of 12 classic books that I was hoping to read throughout the course of the year. These were all books that I had heard a lot about, or books that I had wanted to read for a really long time, books I thought were important for me to have read in order to be a well-read person. Of the 12 books that I selected for myself, I only ended up reading 6 of them, so only half of the TBR got accomplished. As I mentioned in my mid-year goals check-in video, I did strike 2 off that list that I just wasn't feeling motivated to read anymore. And the remainder of them, I just kind of lost interest in as the year went on. I will admit that I'm still fairly new to the classic scene. I have only started reading classics within the past few years, so I am still trying to learn my taste in classics, and I do believe I did a little bit of that this year. I'm also trying to pay more attention to my mood and the place that I'm at in my life currently, and trying to select books that will be the most appropriate for me to read based on those factors. As such, I decided not to roll over any of the books that I did not complete in 2017 to the classics TBR that I created for 2018. I decided to pay a lot more attention to the classics that I enjoyed in 2017 and tried to select books for 2018 based off of that. I am positive that I'm going to want to revisit the books that I did not finish for 2017's classic TBR, but I want to pick those up when I'm most excited about them, which is not going to be for 2018. I'm very confident in and excited about the classics TBR that I put together for myself in 2018, so I think it's mighty strong as it is, and I'm just gonna move forward. And then I also wanted to finish all the books on my Young Professional TBR, which was a list of 11 books that I put together for myself in the middle of 2016 when I was starting the position that I'm still currently in. I ended up finishing 7 of those 11 books, and of the 4 that were not completed, 2 of those were DNFs, and 2 of them were books that I just didn't make my way through the whole way. Again, this is less than ideal. I would have liked to have finished all those books, even considering the 2 DNFs. But when I put this list together, I was entering my first office job, and I was kind of taking a stab in the dark as to what I thought would be helpful for myself. Now that I've been in this job for over a year and a half now, I have more of an idea of what will prove helpful for me in my career. Because of this, I have created a whole new Young Professional TBR filled with books that I think will be good for me to read at this juncture of my career. You can expect to see that video up next week. And the last project that I was aiming to achieve in 2017 was my Russian history retreat project, where I was hoping to make videos on books that I was reading on Russian history. I ended up shelving this project in the middle of 2017 because I had a lot going on in my life, and some of the restrictions that I had imposed on myself were stressing me out. As I have said before, I am hoping to reboot this project for 2018 and get rid of some of the rules that I was imposing on myself for no good reason and just talk about some Russian history with you guys. I will say that 2017 was a very interesting year. It definitely had its good and bad moments. Overall, it was mainly good when it came to my personal life, not necessarily in world affairs. 2017 was actually a fairly stable year in my life in that I did not move house or change job positions, which is not something I'm entirely sure I'm going to be able to say for 2018. So it was nice in that regard, but I am definitely happy to see the back of it and be moving forward into 2018. So that was my 2017 reading and channel year in review. If you have any comments or questions on anything I've discussed in this video or about anything in general, you can please feel free to leave that in the comment section below. Or I am on a variety of different places on social media, and you can find the links to all of my profiles in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.